after a session presented by Almosafer. Please welcome the CEO of Almosafer, Muzzammil Ahussain, in discussion with SkiftX Vice President Jeremy Kressman.
Muzzammil, welcome to Skift Global Forum East. Great to have you here again.
Thank you for having me.
So this is now our third year in a row doing this talk, and it feels like the tourism momentum in the kingdom continues to grow. If I'm not mistaken, you've already surpassed the Vision 2030 Saudi goal this year, so 6 years ahead of schedule. You had 100 million visitors. And you, of course, run one of the leading travel companies in the kingdom, and you have a big stake in trying to expand the tourism there, both internationally and domestically. So I just want to use today's chat to kind of get an update over these past 3 years. What's on your roadmap for the year ahead? Let's start with tourism destinations in Saudi. Tell me a little bit about that. We've got two other destinations from Saudi speaking today. We have Red Sea and Kadia. They'll be on stage later today. Can you start by explaining to me your partner strategy with tourism destinations in the kingdom and how it's mapping to your larger growth strategy?
Definitely. I think, yes, Saudi did achieve its goals of Vision 2030 early for tourism targets, but I think that's just the first target. They've already increased that number to now be 150 million by 2030, both from a significant portion domestically and internationally. In terms of the destinations in Saudi, yes, you have Qiddiya, you have Red Sea, you have the larger cities of Riyadh, Jeddah,
Right.
You have, of course, Alula. And in each city has its own unique proposition. Our job is to work with them, whether it's their DMO or the overall Visit Saudi and Saudi Tourism Authority, to promote unique experiences and showcase to both domestic customers and international customers what there is to do and how to experience those places, and make it as seamless as possible of a journey.
Right, and it's great to have those resources of places they're interested in visiting, and they're getting more attention both internationally and domestically. Talk to me a little bit about inbound tourism. That's becoming a bigger part of your tourism growth strategy, right? And also what the kingdom is focused on. Explain to me what Almosafer's inbound tourism strategy looks like and how that's aligning with the larger plans for the kingdom in terms of tourism goals.
Definitely. We have a number of different segments of our business that are focusing on inbound. We have our B2C segment, which is also present in Kuwait and the rest of GCC, focusing on bringing GCC nationals and residents of the region, which have very simple visa access and access to the country,
Sure.
into the kingdom, both for religious purposes and for tourism purposes, for things like Riyadh season or visiting the Red Sea, places like that. We have Discover Saudi, which is our DMC, focusing on providing agents around the world and tour operators around the world with packages and experiences on the ground in Saudi. Mm-hmm. We have partners in UK, US, China, Indonesia, and other places that really focus on creating these unique experiences and tailoring it for those markets. Sure. We know that there's significant markets that the Saudi Tourism Authority and Ministry of Tourism are focused on to bring inbound, such as China, which is a target of 5 million visitors by 2030. So we're creating unique experiences for each one of those and showcasing what there is to do in the country by promoting it and articulating and creating opportunities to experience the country. And lastly, we have another element around inbound, which is around the religious tourism segment. We have a business focused on religious tourism, bringing pilgrims from around the world into the kingdom.
Sure. Well, let's actually talk about pilgrimage tourism. You know, Hajj and Umrah, these visits to Mecca have historically been a really huge growth engine for the kingdom. How do you balance that now as you look at the leisure travel market and bringing more of those inbound travelers into Saudi who might be interested in visiting? How does the marketing shift there?
Well, first is to understand what's happening in the religious tourism ecosystem. First is the government has spent a significant amount of time, money, and effort to digitize the experience, make the visa process much simpler, both for religious and leisure, as well as for enabling the infrastructure in the holy cities to serve that capacity. At the same time, that's actually a great opportunity for pilgrims to explore the rest of Saudi by doing what's called Umrah Plus. So you do the religious tourism, and then you go and experience the Red Sea or Jeddah or Riyadh, which is one. At the same time, there are people who are exploring Saudi purely for leisure purposes, but they may be of the Muslim faith and they will add a religious element to it. So we think it's not a balance, it's more of an opportunity in terms of people can experience whatever they're looking for in Saudi, whether it's leisure or religious or both.
And is it differentiated in terms of it's a different type of traveler that may come for a leisure purpose, or is it essentially the same traveler that's coming for?
I think there are, for those that are of the Muslim faith, there are people that would explore both. There is also a segment that's purely coming for religious purposes, and that's tailored services and packages for them. And then there's the pure leisure traveler who is not coming for religious purposes but wants to experience the kingdom. And there's significant growth in every area of that.
What does the growth look like in that leisure segment?
Leisure segment for us is growing in triple digits. We see continued growth from European countries,
Sure.
specifically Italy and the UK. And Germany, and we're seeing great growth from Eastern Europe, Russia, and also China, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and to hit that next stage of growth targets, I think that's going to have to be a bigger component of the
Definitely.
Saudi tourism strategy.
Definitely.
Talk to me about Chinese travelers, Muzzammil. That was a big focus prior to the pandemic. The pandemic changed Chinese travel habits, but then, the world's open again to Chinese travelers. Have you seen signs that this market is rebounding? And what does that look like in terms of the kingdom and what Almosafer
So I think, as a strategy, China is a focus market for inbound tourism for the kingdom. As I mentioned earlier, a target is 5 million visitors by 2030 from China. And there's a number of steps that are being taken to do that, both at a government or tourism level and at our company. So at a government level, they're increasing air connectivity, a significant increase in connectivity between China and Saudi, direct connectivity, not via other hubs. So
Sure.
that's a key component. The second component is Saudi is an approved destination for Chinese travelers, which it wasn't before. That recently happened. And then the third element is companies like us, or what we're doing is creating tailored products and services, working with the tourism ecosystem, whether it's hotels, service providers, tour guides, to enable specific products and services for the Chinese customer. Of course, they have language differentiation. They have diets, certain types of food they like. So we want to make sure that experience when they come visit Saudi is also there. At the same time, allowing them to experience the true nature of Saudi as well.
And what do the trend lines look like in terms of Chinese travel visitation to the kingdom? And
I think it's still early. It's still in its nascent stages, but it's kind of at a hyper growth phase once it really kicks off. It's really about getting the infrastructure in place to support it, which has started this year. We're going to see significant growth going forward.
Right. If you build it, they will come. Muzzammil, as your business expands, there's a lot of interest in the success story of Almosafer, and obviously interest in what's going to happen with you going public. What does the roadmap look like that, and what are the kind of considerations or milestones in terms of when you make that next move?
Sure. So as Almosafer, we're part of the Sierra Group, which is already a public company. It has a number of investments in tourism and travel in Saudi. We believe as a group, it's targeted that within 2 to 3 years, so let's say late 25 or 26 would be the target. At the same time, there are a number of factors. Being in this industry, in this region, huge opportunity for growth, and balancing growth with the requirements of being public are also a trade-off for the group to take. Secondly, it's about the market conditions and the overall conditions, but we're very, very comfortable with our strategy in terms of targeting to go IPO within kind of, let's say, the next 18 to 24 months.
Right. Okay. Muzzammil, we're in an audience here of senior executives from the travel industry. They might be considering opening up a business relationship or looking at a tourism strategy in the kingdom. What should they be thinking about as they make that decision, and what do they need to know about the Saudi market in terms of tourism?
Yeah, I think it's very important, first of all, just to understand the culture and the people themselves. Before you go into a market like Saudi, it's not... There's a lot of misconceptions that you may have from media or other places, but when you go and actually visit and see it, you'll see that there's a great amount of passion for tourism and for visitors, and a great amount of openness in the country and by the people to create the tourism ecosystem. Understand that, find the right partner on the ground, whether it's us or any other partner you're working with, an airline or hotel. Find the right partner that'll make sure the experience is right for your customer. And lastly, create something unique. Try to look at Saudi as a unique destination and find the uniqueness that fits with your clients.
Those are some good best practices to live by. What's next for Almosafer? What do you have on the horizon? Are there kind of big strategy changes or things you're thinking about?
No, I think really it's about execution and growth. We have so many different priorities that are happening at tourism sector in the region, both Saudi's domestic travel, inbound internationally, Saudi's traveling outbound, new airlines coming up, new cruise lines coming up. Our job is really to connect and create an ecosystem for this to thrive by connecting that supply with demand. we believe that we are well positioned to that, and we want to continue to deliver on our commitments and our strategy.
Well, certainly an exciting time for Almosafer and also for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So, Muzzammil, thank you for joining us. If you want to learn more about Almosafer, you can scan the QR code here on the screen.
Thank you
again.
Thank you.